Hello, good evening, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the BFBS Armed Forces Virtual Racing Challenge. It's round number 7 of 10 here tonight. We are back to Oulton Park Island Championships. In seasons gone by, we have enjoyed coming to here, and it makes no challenge whatsoever to come back here whatsoever. Delighted to be back here. I'm feeling much better this week. I am, of course, David Christie, and the man, the myth, the legend, John Knighton, holding the fort with Alex Goldschmidt last week. John, thanks for letting me back in the commentary box. That's a start there. I obviously missed a heck of a race last week at Brands Hatch.
You did indeed, yeah. Thanks a lot to Alex for holding. He was really holding the fort last week for his excellent commentary last week at Brands Hatch on the GP track there. And we had two terrific races, actually. Really good. Ryan Martin up there again, winning the first race, but nowhere to be seen in the second race. Chris Pawley, Darren Berris, Craig Durrington, and Stu Eatock were amongst the leaders there. And Darren Berris actually got 5th place in the first race. It's the first time we've really seen him really coming to the fore. But a great week for Chris Pawley with a first and a second as well. So really terrific stuff last week and some really great racing. So you missed a bit of a treat last week, David. Hopefully you'll bring some good luck for us tonight here at Oulton Park on the Island Circuit.
Fingers crossed. I've got no doubt that the guys and girls out there tonight are going to bring an absolute banger here to Oulton Park Island. Remember, this is the island layout and not the full international layout. But there you can see we're now down to the business end of the championship just tonight, and 2 other nights following to round off the championship. Silverstone next week and Donington as well. Let's have a look at how the championship is standing just now. This is going to be one of the nights to watch for Ryan Martin. If he can get a flawless night tonight, I think that puts him out of reach for Chris Pawley in 2nd place. You can see Tom Stevens there in 3rd place, Will Fox in 4th, Stu McFadden there out of contention now in 5th position, Chris Boland in 6th, Craig Dunn in 7th position, Adam Barron in 8th, Dan Berris in 9th, and James King in 10th. That's how the top 10 line up for the Drivers' Championship. The teams is an absolute formality at this point. Force by name, force by numbers for the RAF. 3,141 points. Royal Navy in 2nd place and British Army in 3rd. Although, you know, when it feels like you're sending hundreds drivers into this championship, I think that that puts the odds in your favour, John.
It does slightly, and I think the Royal Navy and the British Army have done very well, actually, given the fact they're completely outnumbered in terms of. I suppose it's so different from what happens in the mainstream of forces sports. The Army always have the biggest numbers to play for, but it's the RAF are absolutely dominated so far. Not just in numbers, but in terms of quality of driving as well. But we've seen, this man Craig Durrington we're seeing now has really improved over the last few weeks. It's taken him a while to get going, but he has been there. And Stu McFadden as well. I've been really impressed with him too as well in this championship. But who's going to stop Ryan Martin? I don't think anyone can, because he's just in a league of his own.
He certainly is all the way out there in pole at the moment. Just thinking about Craig Dunn, though, it's been a massive disappointment for both of us, I think, John, here, knowing how strong he was last season, and to see struggling so much with this brand new car, this Toyota GR86, just not able to get not only the performance in terms of the finishes, but the luck just hasn't been his way as well, finding himself in a lot of other people's incidents.
Yeah, you're right. He's not had the rub of the green at all this year, and also I just wonder in terms of whether it's also to do with the amount of practice he's been able to do. That applies to a lot of the other drivers who you'd imagine would be right up there and just haven't been, because obviously work commitments always take precedence, and sometimes it just isn't time to practice the way that people would want to do. But I think all of the drivers are always going into these races hopeful, aren't they? They're always hopeful their luck's going to turn and suddenly they're going to produce the goods. And I mentioned Darren Berris earlier. Darren's not had the best of years, but last week he was absolutely on fire. 5th place in the first race, and he got a podium in the second race too. In fact, he was second. So, luck can change. It can turn. But overall this season, Ryan Martin has been right at the top. Chris Pawley has challenged him all the way. We saw Chris last week, a really great week for him, with a second in the first race and then winning that second race at Brands Hatch. So who knows what's going to happen tonight?
Well, we'll just glaze over the fact that we saw Craig Durrant going Tokyo Drift round Old Hall Corner during qualifying, just 9 minutes left to go here. And again, a testament to this championship when we look at the fact that we've got, 15 to make us 17 cars that are in this, 21 car field just now for qualifying, are within 1.7 seconds of each other. That is... how close. You can see there Dan Berris down there, 1.75 seconds. I think that is the closest grid that we have had all season, and that makes me very excited for the potential for a very, very close and potentially quite a scrappy race this evening. The other thing as well, John, is just because Ryan Martin has had the luck of the green so far this season, he's not been a stranger to having some really, really unusual moments, especially in that second race. You were saying about that in race 2 last week at Brands Hatch, but we've seen that time and time again as well. He'll be dominant in race 1 and disappear in race 2. Yeah,
I mean, but that's obviously that they've got certain races that they can drop, can't they, from their overall total. So, consistency has been the name of the game for him throughout this championship, but not necessarily in each race. But he can afford to lose a few points, and it obviously, from our point of view, you just want to see the best drivers win, but also we want to try and take this to a real climax for the last race of the season, and certainly from the second to last race of the season next week at Silverstone, and who knows, we may still have a sort of a championship decider at Donington Park in a couple of weeks' time.
Well, of course, the drop scores as well. I think it was 2 weeks ago was the last round that they were eligible to submit a drop score, and now any points from this onward, they have to be taken as is. And I think that adds a little bit of pressure, if anything, for Ryan Martin right at the top there, because while it's a nice lead that he's got there, John, it's definitely not infallible, given that we've got essentially 6 races left to go in the season here.
Indeed, absolutely. One of the driver I was going to mention was Michael Clough, who a couple of weeks ago had a great couple of races over there in Japan. Last week was a little bit different for Michael. He was all over the shop, to be honest, and it was almost like he was having fun at the fairground on the Dodgems. It was an interesting one, but I see that he's up there in 6th fastest at the moment, and I'm sure that he's going to give it his very best tonight. You never know with Cloughie, do you? What he's going to turn out the evening, and there's other drivers there like Etok, Stu Etok. He had a really good race last week. Chris Boland doing really, really well, and Stu McFadden, who of course you know very well, don't you, from his racing. He's had a really good debut season so far, and he'll be anxious to put a few more points on the board for himself tonight.
Yeah, especially joining sort of late into the season, it makes you wonder what would have happened if that wasn't the case. But yeah, what a brilliant season it's been so far. We've certainly had a lot to talk about. That's been one of the things that I've always loved being part of this championship, because, as I say, there's so much pride at stake, and everyone takes this championship so seriously because of that. I don't know if it's it must be. That's the only thing I can explain it with, John, because I do commentary on lots of other different championships, and there's nowhere near the same sort of determination. And just to explain what I mean by that, I see determination, and that's cars knocking 7 bells out of each other. But with this, for the most part, and where possible, these drivers try their damnedest to give each other the racing room and respect each other as much as possible, and it is an absolute breath of fresh air. Yeah, it is. I mean, the thing about military sportsmen and women is that they play to win, absolutely, but not at all costs. And at the end of the day, it's that honour really in performing and doing your very, very best.
but not necessarily at the expense of anyone else. And so you're not going to see a lot of deliberate knocking off, track. There will be errors, and I think when you see all the big accidents, it's down to errors rather than any deliberate attempt to make life difficult for your opponent. Absolutely. And I think we should also pay tribute to Tom Stevens as well. I mean, Tom, how consistent has he been this year? There he is, in third place in the championship as well for, consistently good. Obviously, he's well behind Ryan Martin in terms of points and Chris Pawley as well. But Tom has been consistently good as well this season, and he deserves a lot of credit for that.
And there we have Mr. Slater to try and make a fool of us all there as we're giving them praises. And have a look at that, John. Stu McFadden, top of the timing tables, 132.688. So there is an answer. Now, what's interesting about that is that is going to throw Tom Stevens into the mix as well now. So, we could have a real ding-dong championship battle. But just getting back to your point that you were making there about winning, not wanting to win at all costs here. I guess it's such a strange concept to see, they're all in different teams, but they're all essentially on the same team, and that's how they treat it. It's such a wonderful, wonderful thing to see, and I'm sure our championship sponsors and partners at BFBS, Splunk and racecarradios.co.uk think very much the same on that one. 3 minutes left to go in qualifying. Stu McFadden on pole position, 132.688 from Ryan Martin in second place there, 6/100ths of a second behind there. Tom Stevens, who, John, you were singing his praises earlier on. Again, it's something that we've not really spoken about this season. We see all of those drivers outside of, say, the top 5, outside of the top 10, top 15, and any other race you could be understood, shall we say, for making a presumption that maybe the skill level was the issue there. It's absolutely nothing to do with skill level, because any one of those top 20 drivers can be in a completely different order week to week to week, and there's still that same gap. And every time through the race, there's always these intense dogfights throughout the field. It really is something else.
It is, and I think the other point to make as well is that no matter how high people finish in the running order in the first race, when you've got that spinning of the wheel to decide the grid placings for the second race, it can turn things on its head. And the really high quality drivers, they have to drive and work their way through the field to get back to where they want to be.
Some fantastic telemetry data given to us by Splunk there. You can see Ben Weston currently the fastest 0 to 30 time out there. So he's got the fastest reaction time from a standing start there. Again, it'll be very interesting to see where that actually puts him into the field there. I don't know how much relevance that will have throughout the race, but we'll certainly see that. But again, it's been fantastic to get all this data from Splunk live and be able to share it with you out there watching on YouTube. As always, if you want to give a shout out to your favourite driver, to your favourite team, whoever you're supporting, any messages, anything like that, just get on the YouTube, pop that in the message box. If you're on Facebook as well, then you can do that as well. Good evening to Sam Bunn, who is waving the pom-poms, cheering on Craig Durn tonight. But we are into our final minute of qualifying here. Stu McFadden goes back out onto the track, then Ryan Martin on an outlap as well. And we've seen this so many times, John, through the season. Ryan Martin in this last gasp, last lap effort, trying to take pole position.
Absolutely. Last week as well, that first race, it was a masterful performance from him to literally, he took the win literally with the last moments of the race, came off the final bend and beat Chris Pawley, who defended magnificently actually throughout the majority of that first race. But Ryan timed his victory to absolute perfection. And, who's to say he's not going to do the same tonight? But, yeah, Stu McFadden doing really well here. Looks like he's heading for pole position. Well,
I'm going to have to put a pin in that because Ryan Martin is on his outlap, and that is the 20 minutes done. So unless he is on a flyer right now, this is going to be the last lap that he gets. So we'll see as he comes across the line any second now. Stu McFadden comes across the line as well. What can Ryan Martin do? It's not. It's a 133.47, 132.688 for Stu McFadden. Stu McFadden takes pole position from Ryan Martin, then Tom Stevens in third, Michael Clough in fourth, and Chris Pawley in fifth position. We'll give you a full rundown of the grid very, very shortly there. But for me, that is being the absolute anarchist here, John. That is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see something getting shaken up and Ryan getting pushed towards the likes of Tom, and a real battle on our hands for the championship.
It is, and it sets us up very nicely. But I think Stu will tell you that he's not always had the best of starts, certainly from the standing start positions this season. Ryan has always been absolutely hot on the starts. So let's see how that shapes up. Tom as well has had consistently good starts this season. But look at Michael Clough, fourth place on the grid. That's a really good performance from him. Chris Pawley, obviously second in the championship. He's down there in fifth place. So yeah, very interesting, but very, very tight. Look at those timings. I mean, absolutely nothing between them. Just over a second down to Chris Slater in ninth place. That is, as you said earlier, is absolutely astonishing, really, on this circuit. I think we're going to be in for two stonking races tonight.
We certainly are. 19 cars within 2 seconds, and it's going to be very, very tight indeed here at Oulton Park. The island layout, which means that it misses out that Shell Oil corner, a corner that I absolutely adore in real life, because if you put the car over at the left hand side of the braking zone, what I was noticing is that a lot of cars brake very, very early on that right hand side, go very deep, and you can just throw the car in, use the natural banking on the corner, and just send the car around. Slightly different though in these Toyota GR86s, and they are very, very tail happy, so keep an eye out for them. You're going to be wanting to see how they do round through Cascades and possibly into Heslops as well. It's going to be some real contentious moments there, maybe even into Druids Corner. But we wait for the session to finish and to head over to bring you the grid for our first race then. Stu McFadden on pole position with Ryan Martin in second position. In third, it's Tom Stevens with Michael Clough in fourth, Chris Pawley in fifth with Chris Boland in sixth position. Adam Barron is in seventh with Craig Dunn in eighth, Chris Slater in ninth, and Dan Berris is in P10. Luke Arpino is in 11th position, and then in 12th position is James King, and then it's Matty Chambers in 13th, 14th is Stu Eatock, 15th and 16th is Ollie Wayne and John Finch, 17th and 18th is Ryan Abbott and Dan Hardwick, Steve Ward and Colin Scott will start 19th and 20th position, Ben Weston and Lyndon Noble going to be charging through from the back of the grid, 21st and 22nd place respectively, as we get ready for our third to last round of the season. 2 races again here tonight. And I've got to be honest, I am really excited to see how this pans out. Chris Pawley is going to be the man to watch on row 3 in 5th position. He is fighting it out, second place in the championship with Ryan Martin in second place. But it looks like, I think possibly Ryan is going to have the inside line going into Old Hall Corner. John, your thoughts ahead of our first race tonight?
Well, just a few connection problems at the moment, but we are ready to go. We got all the lights off, and away we will go. And look at that start. Just look at that start. Stu McFadden making a really good start, but Tom Stevens having a bit of a nightmare, I think, on that. Yeah, it's actually Ryan Martin who split right down, isn't it?
And Martin spins! That was unreal. So Martin gets back on the road there, and Chris Pawley is up into third position. This is monumental, John, for the championship. Second place is now ahead of first place. There's more contact. That's Boland and Slater, and a huge accident in the Cascades. Matty Chambers sent to the moon. Colin Scott involved, and Stu Eatock also involved in that one. And I can already hear the stewards slapping their hands, getting ready to dish out some punishment, because believe you me, that will be getting looked at very, very intently.
Yeah, not particularly disciplined start, was it? But look who's benefited from it. Stu McFadden and Tom Stevens, and Chris Pawley, as you said, moved up into third place from his position on the grid. With Ryan Martin, actually he's recovered quite well considering the difficulty he had. He's back in fourth, and Darren Berris from 10th has made a really good start there as well, up into 5th place. Luke Arpino in 6th, and Craig Durrant in 7th, and Chris Boland 8th. Chris Slater 9th as well, despite the fact that they had some issues too. So they've made some reasonable recoveries.
They certainly have, as the cars come charging over through the water tower into Druids Corner, then up to Lodge Corner then for the first time here on a 15-minute race 1. As you can see in the background there, Ben Weston and Dan Hardwick fighting it out there. You've also got Linda Noble, who's made an amazing start to the race. Well done, Linda. 17th position, 5 positions up as Ollie Wayne jumps into into pit lane. So that's going to be yet another position for Linda. That's absolutely brilliant to see. Chris Pauley, that gap now 0.8 of a second ahead. And Ryan Martin, I wonder if there's a little bit of damage on that car, because that is, fairly safely at that 2 second mark there.
Indeed, but Stuart McFadden, there's that opening group have really sort of opened up a bit of a gap, haven't they? And yeah, you're quite right, Linda, from 22nd on the grid, moving up to, she's dropped down to 17th, and Michael Clough, who started 4th, there he is back in 16th. What happened to him? Here's what happened to Michael Clough, just losing it on the bend there, and couldn't hold it. Makes a reverse turn.
No.
Dear. That's been Michael's season.
I've got a horrible feeling about this, and again, this is a commentator's opinion, so please just take it as such. I saw Ryan Martin on that inside there colliding with that car on the outside there. Now, whether or not that was a racing incident, that's for the stewards to decide, but that is a huge red flag for Ryan Martin right now, because they will be investigating that incident, and if they decide that he caused that incident, that could be a penalty, and we are talking about like championship defining points that are on the line here tonight. This is unbelievable. You can script this sort of stuff. Stu McFadden crosses the line then, start lap 3. Tom Stevens in 2nd place. The gap up to Chris Pauley is now a little bit higher there. Is up the inside there. Beautiful move there by Slater on Boland. Beautiful stuff to see. 3 minutes in. It feels like we've done about 10 minutes already here, John.
I know, so much instant already packed into this race, and I think we can expect some more as well. And just look at that with Matty Chambers. Oh dear. Oh, they were having dodgems there, and several cars taken out there. Not a lot of fun for Matty Chambers from the Royal Navy there. Come on, Matty, get yourself back into things. And but the people who are benefiting, and it's Dan Hardwick has now taken
he's bugged out, he's disconnected, or he's coming out the pit exit. That's what's happened. He's reset back to the pits, and it puts him temporarily a lap up, and then it sorts himself out when he leaves the pit. So I've been caught out on that. You would not believe how many times, John.
Well, that's definitely one for me to remember, because suddenly this man disappears from nowhere in the leading position. But Stu McFadden has a lead, and he's just slightly increased. It's now 0.68, creeping up towards a second lead there, with Tom Stevens in 2nd place, Chris Pauley 3rd, Ryan Martin. And how's Linda Noble doing? She's slipped back to 18th again. So come on, Linda, that was a really good performance, you're up to 16th place. So keep that one going for us. Ollie Wayne back in 21st, and who else is on the move? Darren Berris has slipped back down to 9th again. He was 4th at some stage, but Chris Slater making a good move as well, well into the top 10 now in 7th place. So a few little changes, and there's a bit of a nest, isn't there, of cars there aiming to get themselves back into challenging Stu McFadden.
Yeah, Stu's been caught right back up then. 0.6 of a second is the gap. Very common to see that as the tyres heat up. They get very sticky, very greasy on these warm surfaces here. Tom Stevens in 2nd place. You're having a look at Chris Pauley there in 3rd position, but Ryan Martin is the man on the move. Fastest lap last time round, 1:32.95. But again, he is stuck behind these cars here. The overtaking opportunities are few and far between here at Oulton Park, and it's not like there's an awful lot of slipstream to write home about with these cars here, John. But further down, we're seeing you've got Craig Durrant, you've got Chris Slater in there as well, Chris Boland, Dan Berris and Adam Barron all fighting it out here. So yet again, just like I was saying, all the way through the field these intense fights.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, Chris Slater putting up a good performance now. He's hoping to get himself into the top 5, probably for the first time in this season's championship. I know he says he's been practicing. Whether I believe him or not, I'm not sure. But he's he's not had the best of times as Chris this year. Finding this car quite hard to handle, I think. But not so Stu McFadden holding that lead at the moment. Tom Stevens still hanging on in there, and Chris Pauly literally on his coattails. And we're now with Tom, and Stu seems to have disappeared off the screen there. But who's gone through there? Chris Pauly has taken that second spot from Tom Stevens, and that was pretty bold, wasn't it? Let's face it. A little bit too bold there from Craig Durrant as well, who's gone off at the same place. But that was a magic bit of move from Chris Pauly there.
That certainly was, and you know what? That was 100% accidental from Chris Pauly. He outbroke himself. You could see the car squirming under braking. He moved to the left-hand side, to the inside line, and Tom Stevens, very respectful, very polite, didn't want to cause the accident, let him have the room, and Chris Pauly will be very happy with that. And that again is big points difference for the championship. So that is huge turn up for the books here, and that's the sort of work that we need to see happening, to see that change hands. And we don't really have a preference either way. We just want to see a fight going all the way down to the last, and making sure that whoever deserves it gets it in the most dramatic way possible, so we can eke this out over our next couple of YouTube videos. That's how we roll. As Tom Stevens gets very close to the back of Chris Pauly there. Can't quite happen. Have a look at Ryan Martin, though, has the run now, 1/10 of a second. Is it going to be a move into Cascades? He cuts out to the left-hand side, late on the brakes. There goes Ryan Martin up the inside. Can't do it, though. Tom Stevens, how did Tom hold on to that? It's still side by side, though, as they come through towards the island bend here. Oh my good Lord, you're kidding me. How did Ryan Martin try and hold that out? He couldn't quite make it work, but he almost tried there. That is sensational, John, from Ryan.
Yeah, great driving again. But look at Stu McFadden. He's actually benefited from this, because look, he's actually now extended there's a bit of a gap now, 1 point, just over a second, and that's the furthest he has been in front in this race. So while his dogfights are going on behind him, Stu is making the most of it and has just built a bit of a lead there.
Yeah, he certainly has. You saw there Ryan Martin actually getting that move done, coming down towards the to the chicane at Hislops there. Great move over Tom Stevens. Tom Stevens relegated now from 2nd to 4th in the space of a lap there. However, make no mistakes, Chris Pauly is going to be hunting Stu McFadden down, or at least trying to. We're going to have to watch out, because here comes Ryan Martin as well. We're watching Dan Berris in the meantime onto the back end of Chris Slater. Also behind is Adam Barnes. So one of the things that I always say here, John, is that you're in such a difficult place. You're having to fight in forward, the car in front, and fight behind as well.
You are, and that it's always difficult, isn't it? And what it's going to do, it's going to split your attentions, and that's not always easy in these cars, especially on these bendy tracks. You need to be able to focus 100% on really hit the car that's in front of you. But if you're being challenged from behind as well, it just makes it much more interesting and more exciting for us watching.
Certainly does. There's contact from Dan Berris on at Chris Slater, and that is going to send Chris Slater into the grass there. Completely accidental, but Darren Berris gets that position there, and that is not going to be a very happy Chris Slater, you've got to imagine, at the end of the day with that one there, John. 5 minutes left to go, 4.5 minutes left to go, and well, this has been just as spicy as I thought it was going to be.
Indeed, yeah, and Darren making the most of that, and as you say, at the expense of Chris Slater, who slips down to 9th. But Stu McFadden, 1.6 seconds his lead. Is increasing his lead at the top with Chris Pauly as well. Ryan Martin still challenging in 3rd place. Tom Stevens on his coattails as well. This could be a really exciting last few minutes.
Certainly will, as we're still watching Matty Chambers. This is the battle for 12th, 13th and 14th position. We said it, time and time again. Oh, it's a huge moment there for Abbott's just in front there. Matty Chambers all over the back, then they're side by side coming up to the final corner there, tries to close the door, gets it done. Have a look up the inside, that's Luke Arpino again, trying to get that position from Matty Chambers. It is all going to be on the run down Old Hall corner here as they come side by side across the start finish line. This is proper British GT stuff, never mind the Toyota GR86's. Beautiful move there from Luke Arpino. Very, very eventful and very, very fortunate to get that move done there. Meanwhile, I'm just noticing up the front of the field as well here, John. Chris Pauley now coming under real pressure from Ryan Martin. That gap 2 seconds up there in front, but that looks like Matty Chambers also trying to have a look up in front as well, as Abbott and Arpino fighting it out as well. You've got Slater in there. Oh, and that's Slater off again. Matty Chambers off again. So, yeah.
And Slater slipped down to 14th now, so he's not betting down to 15th. So has he got some sort of technical issue or engine issue? I don't know, but things have gone from bad to worse from him. But yeah, what a battle! And I think it just emphasises the point you were making. The brilliant challenging and driving in the middle of the field here. That each of these places just as important for the drivers who are away from the leaders, having their own little battles, but very fair battles.
Fair and respectful is something that we were talking about earlier on. As you can see side by side, that is going to be Luke Arpino again trying to fight in with this here. This is coming into the last corner, into the Deer Lodge. And again, it just evens itself out here. What I'm noticing as well, Tom Stevens starting to come back into this fight up there for 4th position and 3rd position as well, but 2 minutes left to go. So I think we're going to have maybe 1 lap to go at the end of this lap here, John.
Yeah, I think so. But Stu McFadden now more than 2 seconds clear of the rest of the field, and it's looking good for him, isn't it? This race, provided there's no sort of little surprises around the corner. But it's still all to play for these other podium places.
Certainly is. As the battle still kicking off, that is going to be Abbott and Boland. So you've got Slater in there as well, trying to recover after going wide at the island bend there. Gets it done, but it's still all to play for, and it's still very, very close indeed. Have a look at that. Luke Arpino trying to have a look on Matty Chambers. So many little nickels and moves left, right and centre here. Fascinating race, and an excellent start to our campaign here for this 7th race of the season. We've got just 3 more left to go to round off season. In fact, this will be the round 8 then. Yeah, sorry, I was miles away there.
Yeah.
Maths was obviously not my strong point. You can tell that, John. Either that or I'm just going to claim that I'm still not 100% after last week.
I would stick by the latter, to be honest, because I think your maths is fine. I'm the one who struggles with the mathematics, but we are in rounds 15 and 16 altogether, aren't we? So it's week 8 and rounds 15 and 16. So this is round number 15 of the championship, and my goodness me, it's gone so quickly. Seems like 5 minutes ago that we were starting with these wonderful GR86 Cup car Toyotas, and I think the racing has been the best ever so far. It really has been so tight, emphasised by how close the timings were in qualifying today. But look at Stu McFadden now, 2.3 seconds clear of Chris Pauley. Ryan Martin still challenging, and Ryan is so good at timing his overtakes to the last moment. And is he going to get himself over to 2nd place?
Well, that's what we're just about to find out, because we are surely on to our final lap of the race. Stu McFadden is coming up towards the final section here. We're watching Adam Barron here just now. There is Stu McFadden then coming up to the final corner through Deer Lodge, round the right hand, down into Lodge Corner, up into Deer Leap, comes across the line, and Stu McFadden takes the win here at Oulton Park for race number 1 of the night. Chris Pauley finishes in 2nd position, Ryan Martin in 3rd, Tom Stevens in 4th, and Craig Dunn in 5th position. And again, like you said, a great run of form towards the end of the season here as James King so very close to taking that position from Adam Barron. A little bit of contact there between Luke Arpino and Matty Chambers. Chambers spins into the path of Chris Slater. Oh, it's Chris Slater, sorry. And, well, oh, that's horrible. Slater's race has been an absolute disaster tonight and not of his own making.
Absolutely. He's had such bad luck as Chris tonight. For that to happen on the final bend, you kind of expected at the top of the top of the chart with being so much pressure, but not down the middle there. But it was just they just lost it at the end. They really did.
Oh, you hate to say it. That's a quit moment for me. That's an Alt F4 is what we call it in the industry. That's the buttons you press on the keyboard to quit out the game. And at which point I'm usually up out of my chair and disconnecting everything and saying, right, that's it for tonight. I'll go and put something on the telly. However, I'd love to say that the drivers are much more mature than I am on that one. And here is your race results then for race 1 here at Oulton Park for rounds 8. Stu McFadden taking the win there from Chris Pawley. It's Ryan Martin in 3rd position. Tom Stevens in 4th. Craig Dunn in 5th. Dan Berris finishes in 6th position. Adam Barron in 7th. James King in 8th. Michael Clough in 9th position with John Finch rounding out your top 10. Luke Arpino in 11th with Ryan Abbott's in 12th. Chris Slater in 13th. Chris Boland in 14th position. Matty Chambers in 15th. Steve Ward in 16th. Colin Scott in 17th. Lyndon Noble is in P18. Stu Etic is in P19. Ollie Wayne is in 20th. Dan Hardwick is in 21st position. And finishing a couple of laps down is Ben Weston in 22nd place. What a race, John. That was absolutely epic stuff here. And I think a lot of discussions going on. Certainly it's safe to say the drivers' chat has lit up.
It has indeed. In fact, Chris Pawley, I think, is actually waiting to have a quick chat with us at the end of this first race. Can we bring Chris in? Because he seems to have disappeared now. Maybe he isn't there.
He's in the room with us, John. Ask away.
He is. Chris, hi. Good evening to you. My word, that was an eventful first race tonight on Oulton Park Island. A great second place for you, and Stu McFadden just a bit too far ahead of you, but lots of excitement going on behind you, and you had to work very hard to keep Ryan Martin at bay.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of stress, quite a lot of pressure when you can see Ryan right behind you. I think he's obviously got the championship to think about, so I think fair play to him. He was probably being quite cautious. I do apologize when he comes on. I apologise that I think I nearly brake checked him into one of the corners, but really happy with second. Got a good start. I think that's where it all kind of where I made up a few places, and then I expected Tom Stevens, I think, to kind of stay on the back of Stu, and then a very last minute opportunity came to dive down the inside. I was kind of 50-50 on it, to be honest. I need to watch it back, but it paid off, and then I just couldn't quite keep in Stu's slipstream, which obviously put me back into the clutches then of Ryan.
Well, when you're challenged actually, we're just going to have the spinning of the wheel now to decide. Stay with us, Chris. We'll have the spinning of the wheel to decide what's going to happen. So, where are we?
Oh, top 7 reverse. So that's Adam Barron that's going to be on pole position there, John.
Okay, top 7 reverse. So Adam will be at the top of the chart. I presume you quite like this, do you, Chris? It's not too bad, really. A reverse for you from 7th. So you'll be starting sort of 6th on the grid. So that's not too bad for this second race.
No, not bad at all. Actually, yeah, that's good. It's I find this circuit difficult to overtake on. To be honest, I just find it's a tricky circuit. So you kind of want to be out of the carnage on the first corner. So yeah, the top 6 will be a good place for the second race.
Excellent. Well, listen, have a good second race. That's a really good few points for you to keep challenging there in the championship from your second place. And who knows, you've made up a few, haven't you, now on Ryan Martin at the top of the chart?
Yeah, all helps. And fingers crossed second race goes just as well. Cheers, guys.
Okay, we'll speak to you later. Thanks a lot, Chris, for your time. And so there we are. We've reached the halfway stage tonight, David.
Yeah, we certainly have. There's some points for you just now. Ryan Martin, 1,111 points. That's a 64-point gap by my very basic maths right there, ahead of Chris Pawley. Tom Stevens now would appear to be out of contention, but again, with another 5 races to go, we'll have to wait and see. What we will wait and see, though, is what we are going to get in store for us in race 2, ladies and gentlemen, because what we're going to do is take a very, very short break, but when we come back, we're going to have live coverage then of race 2 here for the BFBS Afvrc here live from Oulton Park. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, then to race 2 of the evening here for the BFBS Afvrc. It's David Christie and John Knighton back here with you. The car's currently on track for practice. An amazing race 1, a 7-car reverse grid for race 2 though, John. And I think it's safe to say after what we saw in that first race, there's going to be a hell of a lot of fireworks here in race 2.
I think there are, and the fact that it's only 7 places means that the highest placed drivers are not too far away. They'll be certainly challenging up the field, which could lead to a few fireworks. I think in those opening bends, certainly the opening laps on this circuit. And it's interesting, wasn't it, what Chris was saying? Not a huge number of opportunities for overtaking on this island Alton Park circuit. So it probably means there's going to be a few chances being taken by people as they try to get themselves up the field.
Yeah, for sure. So just watching the cars head their way around and off into the background there. It doesn't really matter too much since it's just a little bit of practice, but cars getting an idea of changes to the circuit. It can change in terms of the temperature, the time of the race as well. And again, I'm just a little bit concerned with the fact that we've got 14 cars on track, but I'm not concerned to see that the other cars are just waiting in pit lane quite patiently as well. So what are we making ahead of race 2? Do we think it's going to be a clean one, or more importantly, that fight with our title protagonists there, with Ryan Martin and with Chris Pawley? What do we think is going to happen with them?
Well, the thing is that Ryan, he knows that he keeps his nose clean. Basically, the title is his, doesn't he? He keeps his nose clean. No unnecessary movements on the track. He can afford to drop a few places, but it's for those who are just chasing him, like Chris Pawley. Then it's going to, they're going to have to start making a move. Anyway, here's the grid.
Certainly is. Adam Barron on pole position, Dan Berris in second, Craig Dunn in third, Tom Stevens in fourth, Ryan Martin in fifth, Chris Pawley in sixth, Stu McFadden in seventh position, James King in eighth, Cloughie is in ninth position, John Finch in 10th, 11th place is going to be Luke Carpino, Ryan Abbott's in 12th position, Chris Slater in 13th, Chris Boland's in 14th, Matty Chambers in 15th position, Steve Ward in 16th, Colin Scott in 17th, Lyndon Noble in 18th, Stu Etic in 19th, 20th position for Ollie Wayne, Dan Hardwick in 21st, and Ben Weston in 22nd, and that's probably the quickest grid that you're going to hear this season, because we are about 10 seconds away from getting going here at Alton Park for the second race of the evening. Oh my good lord, what on earth are we about? Exactly right, absolutely breathless there, and here we go, the lights are about to come on just as we got on the first race then. 5 lights on, let's go racing for the final time tonight, and it is a streaker of a start from Craig Dunn there in third position. Look at that gaggle of cars. Luke Carpino caught up in the mix as well. You've got Ryan Abbott and Finch up into the inside. That's Chris Pawley already up into P4, escorting Tom Stevens out, and there's more contact almost straight into the path of oncoming cars there. Abbott's goes down the line there as well. Ryan Martin up into P5. What a start to this race here, John.
Amazing start, yeah, but it's very disciplined actually, despite the fact we came very close. All the cars are still on track and they're all going in the right direction, but a few changes going on. Adam Barron though still holds his lead, Darren Berris still has his second place, and Craig Durrant still holding third place. So those top three have done well. They've got away with the start that they would have wanted. Ryan Martin though making a challenge already up to 4.
Certainly has. Let's keep an eye on things as they transpire through this first lap then. This is your 2 title protagonists, Ryan Martin ahead of Chris Pawley then, and Ryan Martin did a grand job of getting ahead of that position there. You've got Adam Barron, Dan Berris. That was almost a really tricky flow of names to pronounce there, but Craig Dunn there up into P3. That is a brilliant start from a driver who we've seen struggling a little bit, and up into second place. Dunn, your 2022 season champion, is on an absolute resurgence right now.
Yeah, going very well. A really good start to this second race for Craig, and we've missed him. We've missed seeing him up here doing so well. Ryan Martin steps up into third place. Darren Berris is slipping down the order a little bit. Chris Pawley is down into fifth. So Ryan Martin making his challenge early doors in the second race, looking to cement that position at the top of the championship.
Certainly is. We're on to lap 2 here of Oulton Park. Remember, it's the island variant, which means we head to the hairpin right-hander here. We would normally be heading into Shell Oil Corner, and Chris Pawley now loses out another position here. Darren Berris ends, Stu McFadden, Michael Clough even, excuse me, my brain absolutely melting with what I'm watching here. This is not what you wanted to see for Chris Pawley, falling further and further down the order here. Ryan Martin in that P3. This could be a big blow to the championship hopes for Chris Pawley, but we'll wait and see, because it's still a fairly small gap and it's still fairly early on into the race. We see Stu Etic falling down, so that looks like a big hit there for Stu.
Yeah, Stu's gone off there. Lyndon Noble, I see, has climbed her way up to 16th place, which is good. Ollie Wayne 15th. And Chris Slater in 12th at the moment. But a few changes. Stu McFadden is moving up now to up to 4th place. Ryan Martin 3rd. Craig Durrant still 2nd. Adam Barron has half a second lead at the top of the top of the race.
Wow. Ryan Martin, no surprises to see. Fastest man on track at the moment. We're watching Dan Berris fighting out side by side with Michael Clough here, as we see Stu Etic just making a mistake and straight into the wall, straight to the scene of the accident. And yeah, that's not the best to see, as Darren Berris then ahead of Chris Pawley and Michael Clough. You've got Tom Stevens wanting to try and have a mix here as well. This is down into Island Corner just now. Who's going to come out on top? I think that's surely going to have to be Cloughie up the in the inside there. But to be fair, Chris Pawley trying to hold it on, and I think it's going to have the run on this here.
It's a right battle between those two, isn't it? It's changing places, more often than a game of musical chairs. Pawley and Clough really having a right old go at each other for that 5th place. Alan Barron, who's that? That's Cloughie again. He's gone right down the field. A bit of a mistake there, and someone deciding to plough up the track there, leaving part of his bodywork behind. That looks very much to me like Michael Clough. Oh dear, Cloughie, what on earth happened there?
I'm just pleading silence on that one. I'm hoping that I can absolutely avoid that one, avoid speaking ill, but Cloughie, looks like all that chat about avoiding all that bad luck in the resurgence has now run out, and the bad luck returns, because that's down to 17th place for Michael Clough right now. Meanwhile, this is a hell of a battle we've got going on here. It's Adam Barron ahead of Craig Dunn and Ryan Martin. This is the battle for 1st, 2nd and 3rd position here, and look at how clever Adam Barron is placing that car around Cascades, putting it to the inside here and making sure that he doesn't do anything wrong with it. If you see him disappearing on screen or down the timing, don't worry about it. It's just network issues that we're seeing there, and that's an opportunistic move by Martin. Bars up the inside at Shell Corner, Island Corner there. Beautiful move, but Dunn is going to have the run on the outside. We've seen that time and time again, John. That car on the outside, it doesn't make sense, but has the better line.
Yeah, it certainly does, and that was really great defensive work from Craig Durrant there to keep Ryan Martin at bay, but he's right on him. It's almost a tow rope job, isn't it? This, but I can't be like that for very long. I really can't. And there's Michael Clough again. What's Cloughie up to? Is this the replay actually of Cloughie his instant a bit earlier? Because this, well, we're just seeing now what happened to him. Was he shoved off? Was it there he goes into the grass, and then it all goes hopelessly wrong. That was the replay. That's the replay when he lost his tail, basically. Oh dear.
Oh, you hate to see it. You really hate to see it. Fastest man on track. Oh, now this is interesting. Stu McFadden now ahead of Ryan Martin, and of course Ryan Martin's not really going to be too interested in this, I would think, because he's going to think about the championship and the points right now. He's going to want to.
What happened to him? Because he was right on Craig Durrant's back. So something must have happened to push him down that field.
So he's already under attack from Stu McFadden. This is over the start-finish line going into Old Hall Corner here. Stu McFadden just sends it. My goodness, I mean, that's brave right there from Stu McFadden.
I think he just dropped off, didn't he, did Ryan there? Anyway, he's back down to 4th place. Adam Barron enjoying this. He's still got a 0.3 of a second lead on Craig Durrant. This is one of Craig's best performances of the season so far, up to 2nd place. And watching Chris Boland here in 8th place at the moment, and he's making a challenge on Mr. Abbott's, on Ryan Abbott's, and we're seeing, well, just a little bit of action going on in the middle of the field again. Very, very close, isn't it? They're really jockeying for position. Craig Durrant here with Craig in 2nd place, but really challenged by Stu McFadden. And Ryan Martin's back up with him again.
Stu McFadden reminds me of Scrappy too right now. He's a little thing just trying to claw his way into anything that he possibly can. This is just a melee. This is an absolute scrap going on right now between the 4 cars here, and this is amazing to watch. This proves that you can have an intense fight here, John, without hitting each other, without coming to contact here. Incredible respect here from these drivers as Adam Barron and Craig Durrant here fight it out side by side for the lead of the race. They're going to have to watch out here as Durrant just has to let off there as Stu McFadden tries to send it up the outside there, around the outside.
This is such an exciting racing, though. It's absolutely brilliant from all 4 drivers there. And Ryan Martin just slips back again. But Adam Barron, brilliant to keep himself in front. And Stu McFadden challenging. Craig Durrant, though, has gone back at it. It's McFadden and Durrant, the 2nd and 3rd. This is terrific stuff. It really is.
Oh wow, what a fight going on, and McFadden takes the position. It was a mistake by Durrant that gives the position to McFadden. That leaves Ryan Martin vulnerable, because here comes Darren Berris onto this fight as well, and he wasn't even anywhere near this fight now. And Chris Pawley already catching up as well, so now we've got another championship battle heating up very, very nicely indeed. Craig Durrant goes wide onto the grass. That allows Ryan Martin to move up into P3. He says thank you very much as they come down into the final corner with just 5 minutes left to go here, and it's going to be Ryan Martin P3, Chris Pawley in P6, but right on the tail of this group. And again, yet again, John, you could not script the action and chaos going on here.
No, you can't. But the one person who's really benefited from this is Adam Barron, now 1.2 seconds clear. He's obviously enjoyed the scrap that's been going on behind him, and has just been enjoying, taking that leading line. He was having to really defend a couple of laps ago, but now he's got a little bit of clear air between him and Stu McFadden, who has that 2nd place. Ryan Martin 3rd, and Craig Durrant slipped down to 4th, and Darren Berris up there now in 5th place with Craig Pawley in 6th. This is terrific stuff. It really is. It's a great race.
Oh my goodness me. Right, take this into account. 2.88 seconds, right? 2.8 seconds separating 6 cars. How is that actually a thing? They are all separated by about 0.5 of a second, 1st to 6th place. And the thing is you know for a fact they're all just feeling each other out here. They've got 4.5 minutes left to go. They're all just waiting for their opportunity to absolutely send it, and send it they're going to have to on this final race of the evening. We've only got 2 more rounds after tonight here, and this is crucial for the championship.
Well, Stu McFadden has closed that gap on Adam Barron now. It's down to 0.3 of a second. I wonder whether Adam had a bit of a coming away there, but he still holds the lead, but it's very, very narrow. And I reckon that Stu McFadden is just biding his time here, with Ryan Martin chasing him as well. I think this is one of the most exciting races I've seen so far this season, and there's been some great stuff.
Here we go then, side by side, coming down the Cascades. Can't quite happen for Stu McFadden. Can he get the car back there? Adam Barron has the run here, but look at Ryan Martin then. They're going to be side by side. Ryan Martin has the run on the outside, coming down towards the left-hander, the right-hander, excuse me, here at Island Bend. Stu McFadden holds onto it, but Ryan Martin going to have the outside line. It's a drag race, and Ryan Martin, I think, is going to have this position by the time they get down to the hairpin. We go to picture-in-picture as you've got that battle for 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th on your screen as well. You can see the battle for the leads of the race on your main picture now. John, honestly, I don't know how our broadcast producer Mike Yao behind the scenes able to keep up with what is going on here, because there is just so much action right now.
It's terrific stuff, it really is. And Stuart McFadden and Ryan Martin and Adam Barron, any one of these could win this. And Craig Durrant, he's still in there as well, as is Darren Berris. I mean, you go down to 6th place and Chris Pawley, and any of these could still win this. But Stu McFadden looking really menacing on Adam Barron at the moment, who you have to say has defended magnificently well.
He really has, but this could be a chink in the armour, because Stu McFadden moves up to go side by side, cuts the car on the inside there. That tried to get closed off there by Adam Barron, who gets sent into the barriers, and Adam Barron off from the lead of the race. Stu McFadden now loses out to Ryan Martin. That's going to be Craig Durrant on the door as well here. And again, you've got to wonder what happened there, because it did look from our limited camera angle here that Adam Barron tried to close that door on the corner.
Yeah, and was there a door to be closed? That's what I'd like to know. It certainly cost Adam Barron that, and then you have to feel for him, because he defended magnificently for 3-4 laps, and eventually the pressure has proved too much. And who's the man who's got the lead? Ryan Martin. Incredible. Let's have a look at this replay now. We'll just see what happened. Stu McFadden, look at Ryan Martin is on the outside there, just almost biding his time. Stu McFadden takes the inside line. And
yeah, well, it wasn't deliberate from Adam Barron, but the front end of that car turned in. It was more the rear end spun out under over traction and put it into the front of it there. So for me personally, just again, personal opinion, that was absolutely not on Stu McFadden. That was a clean move there. Adam Barron over-rotated the car coming out of Old Hall Corner there and clipped into Stu McFadden there.
It looks like Stu's car disappeared off the screen as well. There was a connectivity issue there as well. And that might have been a bit it's certainly confusing for us. It might have been confusing for for Adam as well. But we will never know. He's back down there into 7th place. After leading this race, right from the beginning, right up to lap 9. So I rather feel for him, I have to say.
Here comes Stu McFadden though, John, up the inside, coming in towards Island Corner, leaves Ryan Martin with the outside corner there. Sorry to jump in, but that's a huge move from Stu McFadden. And look at that, Ryan Martin just gives him the place, because he doesn't need to fight, he doesn't need to cause any issues over this. Chris Pawley is 3 cars behind here, but again, it's going to be what happens here with Stu McFadden. How does he deal with all this pressure here on what is likely to be the final lap of the race here?
And Stu, of course, who won race number 1 tonight, looking for a double. He timed that perfectly to absolute perfection. Ryan Martin flashing his lights there, his headlights, as if to say, excuse me, what's going on there? What have you been, what were you doing? Craig Durrant still hanging on in there for 3rd, and that will be a real bonus for him to get on a podium if it stays like this. But it's still absolutely neck and neck.
It certainly is. But through the final corner then, the checkered flag waves for our final race tonight, the BFBS Afvrc round 8, and it's going to be Stu McFadden to take the win from Ryan Martin in 2nd place there, Craig Durrant in 3rd position, Dan Berris in 4th, Chris Pawley though in 5th position, and that comes out even Stevens, I believe, on the championship. Look at this fight though here for 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th position there. Great stuff. Wow, we'll go through the order very shortly. Dan Hardwick here onto the tail end. Listen, this has been one of the stellar nights. No, Dan, not like this. Oh no. That is just absolute heartbreak. On the final corner, coming out of Deer Leap, the car oversteers, twitches, as so often happens with these GR86s. Oh my good lord, I feel so bad for Dan Hardwick. What I was going to say though, John, I mean, we are big fans of the big members of the Linden Oval fan club. 15th place. I mean, that is another brilliant performance, and possibly is that our best finish in the season?
I think so. I think you're not far from the truth there, David. Just looking at Adam Barron, 8th place. You've got to really feel for him, haven't you? Because he led that second race, and just that little error just cost him at the end, and he dropped down to 8th. And well, that's really unfortunate for him. Really unfortunate. I really feel for him.
Yeah, it's not the best, but there you go. The checkered flag is out, and all the cars have come across the line. We'll wait to get the confirmed standings. In fact, there we go. Then Stu McFadden taking the race win by a 10th of a second over Ryan Martin. Craig Dunn in 3rd position, with Darren Berris in 4th position. Chris Pawley in 5th. Chris Boland in 6th. Ollie Wayne in 7th. Adam Barron after that awful contact at turn 1 on the final lap there, down in 8th position. 9th place for Ryan Abbott. John Finch is in P10 with James King in 11th. Steve Ward in P12. Tom Stevens is going to finish the race in P13. Colin Scott in 14th. What we believe is the best performance of the season for Linden Oval up into P15. Dan Hardwick in 16th. Chris Slater and Stu Eatock in 17th and 18th position. 19th is Luke Arpino. Ben Weston in 20th. Michael Clough in 21st, and Matty Chambers down there in 22nd position. What a race, John. What a night we have had.
Oh, just getting my breath back after that. I know we've got Ryan Martin waiting to have a chat with us. It'd be really lovely if Linda Noble could join us for a chat as well. As you say, 15th, that's definitely her best performance of the season so far, and what's been a difficult season, obviously in these new cars. But Ryan Martin, Stu McFadden as well, waiting to talk to us as well. In fact, shall we bring Stu in first, actually, David, because it's not a bad way to celebrate tonight. 2 victories from 2 races. Stu, good evening to you. Congratulations, great stuff from you tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Yeah, it was a pretty good night, I would say. Pole, race 1, race 2. Yeah, excellent work. Really pleased, to be fair. I really enjoy Elm Park. It's just a track that suits me, to be fair.
You can tell.
I don't know, but really enjoyed the racing tonight. The racing was really good, apart from that last race. Well, all of it was good, apart from one incident in the last race. But I don't know where else I could go, to be honest. But yeah.
Well, it was a real fight going on, obviously with Adam Barron leading the race there, but you picked your moment to perfection to get past him, and it was such a battle, with Craig and Ryan up there as well. From us, I think it's right in saying, David, we're pretty out of breath actually just watching that. So goodness knows what it was like for you guys driving tonight.
Yeah, honestly, I'm sweating. I need to go for a shower, honestly. Me and Ryan were in the chat together, so we were sort of thinking of ways that we could work together to try and get past. But yeah, it came off on top, so I'm really happy with that, to be honest.
Are you saying you were colluding with him tonight to get past Adam?
No, of course not. No, we were working independently. Yeah. But when we were on track together, we weren't going to wipe each other out. Put it that way.
Well, it's something we said earlier, and it's something none of you want to do. It's ultra competitive, this racing, but it's not that competitive, is it? I mean, there's a huge respect for all the drivers, and we saw that in abundance tonight in both races, which is really good to see.
Yeah, there's so much respect in this championship. I don't think I've had. I think this is probably one of the cleanest leagues I've raced in, and obviously Dave knows. Like, I've raced in so many leagues. And it's really good to see like the admins putting in all the work behind the scenes, which I've got to thank them for, because I literally just show up and race. I don't need to do any faff at all. So yeah, thanks to them for making such a great championship. And all the competitors as well are really we're all in the military. So yeah, we all kind of get along, which is really good.
That's excellent. Well, great night's work for you, Stu. Go and have your shower, and I'm sure you'll be watching back and enjoying the moments tonight from 2 great victories. So well done to you.
Thank you very much.
Let's bring in Ryan Martin now, championship leader. Ryan, good night's work. A second in that race, third in the first race tonight. So, you just have to keep the points ticking over, don't you now? And hopefully that championship, from your point of view, will be yours.
100%. That's the aim. Tonight was good fun. I unfortunately didn't have much time to practice, so when I jumped in half an hour before the first race, I was really in no man's land. And then I seen Stu's pace, and I just thought, what is going on here? So I think I was just listening to your interview there with Stu, and we were in the same voice chat, and we were just making sure that nothing crazy was going to happen, that we both got what we needed, and that we stayed at the front instead of any incidents happening and causing any chaos. So
It was certainly exciting to watch, and instant packed. And we were talking obviously about Mike, who's directing the traffic tonight in terms of the broadcast. Weren't really quite sure where to look from one lap to another, because there were all sorts of battles going on all over the circuit tonight, and that just goes to show how important everyone regards winning all these points. And wherever you are on the circuit, wherever you are down the grid order, there's a battle going on, and that's so exciting to watch.
Yeah, I think it's a natural competitiveness that most people in this championship have, regardless of the pace that they've got or the amount of time that they can spend on iRacing practicing. Everybody is now, after a few weeks, they know who they're competing against in the championship, and every week you see mostly the same guys racing the same guys because they're closer on pace, but nobody's really giving each other an inch. I know that coming out the really tight chicane, I think it was the second lap of the second race, I looked in the rearview mirror and I just seen cars flying off into the gravel trap, and so regardless of where you are on track and in the grid, everybody's fighting, and it's obviously great for you guys to watch. It's great for us to be taking part in it, and that race there alone, the stuff that I was involved in there, we were pretty much four cars glued together. You could have thrown a bed sheet over us. It was great fun, and thankfully everybody got through it okay, and we actually enjoyed the racing, and everything was good after that.
Now, I'm no mathematician, Ryan, but I don't think mathematically we can congratulate you on
Please don't say it yet.
on the title yet. But just tell me, this season has been fantastic for you. Why has it been so good? Why has it gone so well for you? I mean, you just said that you've not really had much chance to practice on this circuit ahead of the race today, but you clearly love this car, and you love, you love competing in it. So, is that the secret? Is it just the car this year has made all the difference for you?
I think it's time in the sim as well. Last year when we raced the 992 Porsches, that was basically the first thing that I had done on iRacing, because I'd moved across from Gran Turismo Sport, and I was still getting to grips with the physics and how the cars handle and how you're supposed to drive. So I think with just time, also I've been racing the GR86 in the official iRacing series, so I've been doing a few races at different tracks, so I'm understanding the car. I understand how to drive it and push, which is the main thing, being able to really try and push it through turns. And I think by racing at different tracks week to week, it's allowed me to have a baseline in my head that I can pretty much jump on any track if I know the track, and I'll be able to get up to pace relatively quickly. I think that's the main thing. It's just time in the sim, time in the car, and enjoying it. As you just said, I love driving this car, and I've never really enjoyed driving slower cars, but this car, it's so much fun. You can be really aggressive with it. You've seen the racing that we had. You can't really do that in very many other series, because the other cars are that fragile that if you make contact, it can cause absolute chaos. So just everything rolled into one. The tracks that have been chosen, the cars, the guys that we're racing against, as you've seen in the second race, like we're very, very respectful on track, and all of that put together means that somehow I've found the pace and I've found the consistency that I'm hopefully, not yet, but hopefully going to be able to to be the champion of this season. But there's a few races to go yet.
Oh,
But
yes.
if I continue what I'm doing, I think I might be able to get there. Hopefully.
Well, it's great talking to you, and congratulations again on another very successful evening for Ryan Martin, and indeed for the Royal Air Force, because I think we can probably safely say that the RF have walked away with the team title this year. I mean, you do have the bulk of the drivers, to be fair, but you've got a race. You can only compete against who you're up against. So it's been a great night for you as well tonight, Ryan. So congratulations, and thanks very much for talking to us.
Thank you, guys. Hopefully, again, like I say every week, hopefully I'll be speaking to you again next week. So yeah, take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you next Tuesday, hopefully.
All the best. Bye now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So there we are, David. A very happy man, and you can understand that, can't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's at the point now where he just has to finish races, grab some points, and secure the championship at this point. However, as we know, nothing's guaranteed, and Ryan was very, very cautious to say that as well. So yeah, he knows what's at stake here. It's going to be a crazy 2 rounds ahead. We've got Silverstone National coming up, of course, next week, and then the final round is happening at Donington National in 2 weeks' time. You can see that there, 2nd of May and 25th of April, respectively. But that is it for us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. A huge thank you to everyone at home for watching. Thank you for keeping us company tonight. A huge thank you to the RAF eMotorsports, to the Army, to the Royal Navy, and to the Royal Air Force Motorsports Association. And also a huge thank you to our commercial partners at BFBS, British Forces Broadcasting Services, to Splunk for providing live telematics, and to Race Car Radios as well. A huge thank you to Mike Yao behind the scenes at Sim Sport Solutions for the beautiful sound and vision that we had there. And as always, a huge thank you to my co-commentator in the box with me tonight, John Knighton. I've been David Christie. We will be back here at the same time next week, ladies and gentlemen. Until then, have a wonderful week, and we'll see you very, very soon.